Well, what is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. On the table in front of us today, we have another excellent offering from Asher Knives. Now, Asher Knives have released this, which is the Silva. They have released the Sentry and one called the Nomad. And the only one I haven't seen yet is the Nomad. I've had a couple of Sentries. One is out for review with some friends. The other is in my permanent collection. They make excellent knives in really good materials. Now, and they do it at a very reasonable price. This, for instance, is S35VN blade steel, running on bearings. It is all titanium. I mean, the screws are steel, but you get what I mean. This is a titanium frame lock in S35VN for 90 bucks. I mean, come on. And it is just a superior, straightforward, easy to use, EDC-friendly pocket knife. It's really very good. Now, I have been in contact with the folks over at Asher Knives. I know that they are in the process of releasing more knives. They're in the creation phase right now, even as we speak. And I am really looking forward to that. I've mentioned this before. Asher Knives had a history of homages. They have done away with all of those. Removed them from the web, removed them from sale. They are very interested in creating new and original pieces that work at very reasonable prices. Their S35VN and G10 models are 80 bucks. I mean, come on. That is just fantastic. Now, they don't make big knives, but they do make knives that are very comfortable in hand. And again, with S35VN on bearings and titanium for under 90 bucks, it is really hard to go wrong. I think this is a superior pocket knife in many ways. I do love their pocket clips. Right? Now, it's not super deep carry. You do get a little knife sticking out of the tail end there, but look at that. It's got good ramp, good spring. It's big enough to support even thick, like 5'11" level pants. Now, this knife has just a couple of barrel spacers across the back. It is a very simple and yet elegant design. It pockets exceptionally well because of how thin it is. It's just a really nice carry. There is no jimping on this particular model, neither on the spine of the blade or on the flipper, but the way the flipper is designed, and yes, with all due respect to Nick Shabazz, this is a little bit of a pocket pecker, but by leaving it a little bit longer that way, even without jimping, it never fails. Now, can I fail it? Nope. Let's try to push button it. Nope. I cannot fail it. The detent on this knife is dialed in just exactly the way you want it. Blade centering came right from the factory, just dead on perfect. It is ambi. You can flip the clip to this side. You remove this little plate and just that plate right there, and drop the clip on the other side. This is a great knife. It just is. Excuse me. All right, let's do some specs just because I enjoy that myself. You get 1, 2, 3 inches of cutting on 3¼ inches. Yeah, 3¼ inches of S35VN. The handle length, grip area, just from just behind the flipper is 1, 2, 3, and well, just shy of 4 full inches, which is why it fits my hand so well. This is an excellent EDC size knife. The overall length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just at 7½ inches long. This is a great knife. Now, size-wise, overall feel in pocket, what it reminds me of most is the bug out. And as you can see, the bug out is, well, they share very similar dimensions, except for $50 less with the Asher, you're getting titanium and S35VN. Here it is up against our big knife, the Old Faithful Rat Model 1. And as you can see, it is considerably smaller than the Rat Model 1. Now, you may notice that this has got some marks on it already. I carry this thing a lot. You know, I've got 150 some odd folding knives. If you add in Women Carry Knives collection, I've got 200 and something knives to choose from. And yet certain knives tend to land in my pocket more regularly than others. And this has become one of the knives that ends up in my pocket just all the time. And it's because it is such an ideal and yet straightforward sort of EDC knife. Now, it has this beautiful swedge across the top of the blade. It has a nice flat spot right here for your thumb to land. Then there's this lovely swedge. It is sort of a saber grind, as you can see, because it's just across the center line of the blade, but it's got a beautiful bit of belly, a little bit of a drop point. This is a well-sorted and extremely well thought-out little pocket knife, and I am very glad to have it around in my collection. Now let's go ahead and weigh it, because it isn't very heavy, but because it is all titanium, it is a little heavier than the Bug Out, for instance. And it isn't milled. The inside of the scales, they're just slab sides, so that is going to play a little bit of a role. Let's see where we come in. Still, we're at 3.5 ounces, and I'll tell you something, that is just right around that inch per ounce of blade length that a lot of people like so much. I think it is a fantastic pocket knife. I know I keep saying that, but I love when a new company comes along and does something really well right off the bat. That's Asher Knives, and particularly the Silva. Look, don't get me wrong, the Sentry, which I don't have handy, has a more attractive blade to me. It's got a bit of a harpoon, lots of things going on. But this is my favorite. It really is. It's just a superior, as I keep saying, EDC pocket knife. Let's get some other specs out of the way. It uses reasonably thin stock. As you can see, we are at, there it is, 2.8 millimeters, 2.85, so just under 3. The handle, which at its thickest point is 10 millimeters or 0.4 of an inch. So under half an inch. It is really, look at the way it fits in the hand. You can really bear down on this thing. The S35 VN has so far, now I don't do PMI, HRC testing, I don't do any of that stuff. What I do is carry it and cut stuff and then develop an opinion on how well they did things like the heat treat based on how often I have to strop or sharpen it. And I have had this for 3 weeks, and it is still hair-popping sharp. So, I don't know. What I do know is that whatever job they did is more than good enough to hold an excellent working edge for everything I've put it through. Now, what have I put it through? Well, I mean, you know, I do property management, maintenance in my spare time. So I've cut everything from rope to food to cordage to plants as I'm peeling things back from walls. This knife has done everything I have asked it to do without so much as a blink. We have developed no blade play, no lock rock, and the action has remained absolutely superior. I love it. We are at about 45% lockup on the lock bar, which is more than fine. It seats very well. It does have a steel insert. So you are steel against steel instead of steel against titanium. You know, this is just a great pocket knife. It really is. And I would like to repeat that for S35 VN and titanium coming in at 90 bucks, you just can't go wrong. I love their logo. I really do. It's not super obtrusive. It's attractive. It's not massively billboarded. The only thing on the other side of the blade, if I can get that to show up right there, is the S35 VN, because they would like you to know what you're getting into. It is flat ground, not hollow ground, and I will say that because it is reasonably short from here down to the edge of the blade, this might be an excellent knife to perhaps create a second version of in a hollow grind, because I think you'd get an even slicier blade out of the deal. So what's the final conclusion? Well, if you go find Asher Knives online and want to order a good pocket knife at an exceptionally reasonable price, Asher Knives has got your back. Beyond that, let me tell you this. Their customer service is fantastic. If you have a knife that has an issue, they'll fix it. They just will. Oh, one last thing. This does have a really nicely done lanyard hole. It's well out of the way of the blade. It doesn't interfere with the pocket clip. If you lanyard, this thing is set up really well for you. I don't, of course, do that, but if you did, this would be really nicely done. I love the pivot, too. Really nicely seated down into the titanium. I'm a fan. Oh, excuse me, look at that. There is just enough jimping right here on the lock bar to make ease of access super nice. Now, it does drop shut with a little bit of a wiggle. I tend to just fold it closed because I like that action. Anyway, this is the Asher Knives Silva. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the knife. If you have any questions about this knife or any of my knives, feel free to ask down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.